So sorry, I am back. I made a huge pot of gravy last week and I gave my neighbor some, so they just came over to thank me. Or sauce for you people that call it sauce. Okay, so let's get back to this video. So I was showing you how to, fill in the box. Okay, so you're going to click your flag. You're going to come up here to the fill color window, and then this is where you're going to have fun with it and change the colors of your teams, whether it's, the Eagles and you want to do the green, green, white, gray, and black, however, whatever colors you want, the pink. So this is where you're going to change your colors. And I'm going to just do blue, just for the sake of this tutorial. Okay, now, and you can put as many as you want across. I just like to basically put game, just because I like to track the games and the times and when they're playing. So I'm going to make 4 of these boxes. So since we already made one, what you're going to do is come up here. Well, actually, let's scale it down first so you don't have to worry about scaling each one. So this is when I like to make my little box, which I know the measurements for mine and how big I like it, but you might want yours a little bit bigger than mine. You might want them more longer on the page. So I'm gonna make my line the size of the box in the Erin Condren Weekly View. So then this way, then you can get a feel for how big or how long you actually want your flags. So I'm gonna click my line, come up here to the scale window. I'm going to unclick the lock aspects, and I'm not going to change the height because I already have basically the thickness that I want, but I am going to change the width to 1.48. I feel like that fits in. I'm sorry, I did that earlier too. Okay, so the width is going to be 1.48. Okay. And I know it makes it way small, but this is actually what it's going to look like when you print it, but I'm just zoomed out, so it kind of looks crazy. Okay, so this fits perfectly in the box. It goes from line to line. If you can see that top black line, it goes from line to line in the box, and that's 1.48. If you want it a little smaller, bigger, then you just do however you like. So I always like to make my line the width that the box is now, and then later on play around with these boxes, and if you saw my other video, I kind of do anything you want. I think I did pumpkins, martini glasses, fall leaves, anything that you like to play with. I like to do that after I have the width of the line, because when you sometimes get other images and break it down, I feel like it sometimes distorts it a little, so this is how I do it. So now you're going to get your flag, and this is where you're going to get the bottom corner, and just basically this is how you can make it smaller and bigger. So this is how I'm going to start. I think I want to make this a little thinner. Okay. And you want 4 of them to fit across. So what I am going to do, it doesn't look like it's going to, but that looks about right. And you can always fix the sizes later on if you want it a little bigger. It's not set in stone. So, and I do want to fit 2 footballs next to it too. So I'm going to just leave this here for now, and then I'm going to just duplicate 3 more, because I do want it to spell out game, because I track the games. So I'm going to duplicate to the right. You're going to come up here. If you didn't see, I call this my little butterfly. I think it looks like a little butterfly, but it's the replicate window. You're going to have this first rectangle selected, and then you're going to duplicate to the right 3 times because we want to spell out game. Okay, and then I think my line is not perfectly straight across, so that's why when these are together, you're seeing that little space. So make sure your line's perfectly straight. I'm not going to get into the little nitty things and try and fix it because I don't want this to be a long video. Okay, we might have to make these a little bit smaller to get the footballs to fit on there. So I'm just going to make them a tad smaller. I'm just going to eyeball it to make sure. Okay, so that looks about right, and I'll just pull them a little bit closer together. Okay, now you're going to get your football, and if you grab that from, I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but I do get a little OCD. Now, if you're just going to do them for yourself and you're grabbing it off of Google, or if you have your own thing saved in your library, however, wherever you have your images saved, that's where you're going to grab it from. I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to grab one off the page that I already made, and then I'm just going to paste it right in here. Okay, now these I'm going to scale down. Mine are small. If you see my video or my pictures that I posted, and when I redid it, I thought I wanted them a little bit bigger because I kind of like them the size of the flag. Now, if you like your page flags this big, that's fine, and you just want to do one football, just make it big. It's your personal preference. But I am going to tilt it. You click on it, and you can move it around with this little green circle. And if you want it straight up and down, however you like it. I'm just going to kind of do it just a little bit. And I like it close together. And I'm just going to make it smaller to fit another one. And I'm going to just duplicate this to the right like we did on the flags. And we'll just make it a little bit closer together. And you might want to make these flags a little bit smaller if you want to make the footballs bigger, but this is how I did mine. And now I want the same footballs on the other side, so I'm going to actually mirror this in the same replicate window right over here where you see mirror. I'm going to mirror this to the left so it looks like a perfect mirror image. See how it did that? And then I'm going to slide it over. And now I'll just click on this one, and I want this one to look exactly like this. Go and slant it that way, and I'm just going to duplicate it to the left, and it's basically done for me. Just going to move it in a little bit. Okay, and then this is where you can play around and make these a little smaller if you want, a little bit bigger. So you can still move it because we didn't group anything together yet. Okay, so that's basically the concept as to how I do this. And then if you want to, obviously you know how to change the colors. I showed you if you want to do interchangeable ones for your team colors. So now I am going to group this together. Oh, and one thing I did not show you, but if you want this line color on these little flags changed, when you click on the flag, that's where you're going to change the line color. You're just going to come over here to the line color and change it right in here. So that's where you're going to change that. And I just interchange mine with, you know, my team colors. So for now, we're just going to leave it like this just because this is a tutorial. So now we are going to group this together. I always do that before I put my text in there because I am the type of person that will move things all over and it does get annoying. So if you're happy with how it looks and how big you want your footballs and everything, or if you're doing fall ones for pumpkins and however you're doing, if you like the general look of it, you're going to now group it together. So you're just going to come out here, if you can see my mouse, and you're going to left click your mouse, drag it over the entire design so you have everything highlighted. With the mouse, you're going to right click and then come down here to group. Now everything is grouped together, so when you move it around, it groups as one. What I do when I did have my store, I just keep things in my folder, and then if somebody wants something like a different team color, if you copy and paste this into another program, the great thing about this is you can ungroup it and then change the color so you don't have to do your design over. So now that it's grouped, now we're going to add our text. And you do have to do each box at a time so you can get it perfectly in there. So you're going to come over here to text and just click anywhere on here, and we're going to just spell game. If you want it capital, if you want it lowercase, it's your preference. Excuse me. So we have the G. We're going to double click it, and then I highlight it, and this is where you're going to change your font. So you change your font to whatever font you want. You can scroll down and look at it. And then this is where also you're going to change your color, which I just normally do white. Excuse me. I normally just like the colors of my texting white. Now the outline in the G, if you can see it, is always going to be red. So this is where you're going to want to come up and change your line color because it's going to be red. Excuse me one second. Okay, that's better. So you're going to change this line color. I actually just do mine white as well because I just like the way it looks on color. So I'm going to change it white, and I know it's going to be hard to see, but if you kind of drag it on top of your design, you can see it. So change the color that you want, drag it on top of your design, and this is where you're going to make it small enough to fit into the little page flag. So that looks about right to me, and I know I did a lowercase g, but it's just a tutorial. Every time I put one in there, I group it because I didn't select it all. I'm constantly moving my things around, and I always if you move it around, then the G is going to stay where it's at, and you're going to move the whole thing. So you're just going to do the same for the rest. You're going to change your font, change my line color to white, and I'm going to fill it in white. And then you're just going to basically scale this down to fit in here. And if you have, and then group it. I group it each time. You don't have to, but I just feel like it's easier. And if you have a couple kids in sports, you can do their names in it if you want, and then you can keep track of who has games on which days. Because I know I work in a doctor's office, and I know that sports are very important, and kids can't miss sports, and practices, and all that good stuff. So that's a good way to keep track of your kids' games, is who's playing when, because I know your moms get pretty busy when you have kids in sports. Okay. Group it, and then we're going to do the last one, which is an E. And then I'm going to change again the font and then the line color to white and fill it in white. Okay, and then I'm going to just move this over here and scale it down. Alright, and then group it together. So that's basically it. I know it doesn't look perfect, and I know these lines are thick, but this is just because it's a tutorial, and I didn't want to make this video long, because I am a perfectionist, so I take forever designing my things, but for the sake of this tutorial, so we're not together for about 2 hours, I just did it really quickly. And anything else that you do is basically your preference. And now if you want to do it for the whole season, and you don't want to change the colors, you like the colors that you picked, and you want it all the same, you're just going to duplicate it. I'm going to make it bigger so you can see. And it looks very small on the sheet, but, you don't need them that big. Let me grab mine to show you. I'm back. So, it looks real small, but, to fit in your planner, they are pretty tiny. So, don't get alarmed with how small that they are. And I did say before in my videos, when I design things, I always like to design one first and print it out, because I like to see how it looks in the book, and then I might want to tweak my design. So, if you're going to do the same thing for the whole season in the same color, this is where you can then just duplicate them, however many you want to make, and space them. Remember, don't go outside that red line, and space them out on your page so you can, you're going to duplicate below. I always do that, but you can do it a lot faster. If you just click one and you just do like column of 4, it'll bring 4 for you. And then another thing that you can do is if you do like, if you want to do the full page real fast, click the top one, hit the column of 4 a couple times so you can fill the page. And then I always grab the bottom one, bring it down to the very bottom. And then if you select the whole row and come over here to the align window and space vertically, it'll make them in a perfect little space line for you. So if you want to do that, but if you're just making a couple and you just want to duplicate a couple, so that's a couple different ways where you can space your items out. And then you will have to, I offset mine because when you go to the cut setting, you're going to see it's crazy cuts because there's lots going on here. So what, I can do another video on that because this would be too long. I offset mine by drawing a box on it, and then I make my I come up here and make my little endpoints, and I just, like I said, I'm a perfectionist, so I can do another video on that. But this is basically the concept as to how I made these little banners for the boxes. Hopefully this video was not all over the place. I'm so sorry for the interruptions. I thought it was going to be nice and quiet. If you have any questions, I will leave my email. If you follow me on Instagram, direct message me, find me on Facebook. I don't have a Facebook page. I have a personal one, and I get private messages all the time. Don't feel like you're bothering me. I love helping people out. I promise I will have more videos up this weekend. Thanks for watching, and I will leave my links below.